Hello YouTube, it is I, Banded Wendy. How are you? It is Saturday, 8/8/15, and I'm here in Los Angeles. I'm actually in a hotel room in Hermosa Beach waiting for Amy, SD Mom, to join me. And we're going to have some fun in the sun here at the beach. So I wanted to come in and update you all on my visit. The primary reason I'm here was to see my surgeon. So I had my upper fluoroscopy, I also call it an esophagram, and upper GI, whatever you want to call it, barium swallow. Had that done last Friday in Washington and hand carried that CD for my surgeon to see. So that is a video representation of our insides, but it's looking at the outside of the esophagus and the stoma and band placement, right? So my surgeon, I just love him to death, Dr. David Daftian, who is a lap band patient himself. He only does lap bands. And the cool thing is that the thousands upon thousands of lap band surgeries he's done, he doesn't have a line of patients waiting for revision, right? They all still have their lap band. So I give him big props. He's a fantastic surgeon. And not only is he a fantastic surgeon, he's a patient. So he really hears you, understands you, accepts you. He's phenomenal. So we looked at my last year on 8/25, I had my upper GI done. He likes that done annually. So I've had one done every year since my surgery was in March 2009. And my first upper GI was in March 2010. And then I've gone on and had those every year. So we looked at it and he said that my esophagus and my stoma are fantastic. That when you look at the actual size of each, it is rare for him to see any patient this far out have such a brilliant looking size that, you know, both of those things are tissue, your stoma and your esophagus, and mine is essentially exactly the same as it was when I had surgery. So that made me feel really great. He also said that my band is still perfectly placed. So test one, major thumbs up. Such a great, you know, feeling as a bariatric patient, specifically a lap band patient, to get that kind of good health news, right? So from there, he goes in, he does these himself, he performs them. I've heard varying things that not a lot of docs do the upper endoscopy themselves. I'm fortunate that he does. And there were 4 or 5 people there yesterday getting theirs. Now, almost 7 years ago, when I had lap band surgery, he made the requirement that every 3 years, every patient of his, have the upper endoscopy. So I had one in 2012, right? And last year, when I saw him last August, he had told me that he now wants that, and it was time for me to schedule. I was a few months delayed in that. Or I guess I wasn't delayed, it would be this year in 2015. So he was like, we need to get your upper endoscopy scheduled. And I'm like, okay. He's like, and I want you to know, I'm no longer doing those every 3 years. I want to do them annually. I'm like, why? Right? He said that he had a patient who was presenting no signs of any issue. And she was having some other surgical procedures done. And she wanted to have the upper endoscopy done along with that. And the other surgeries were non-bariatric related. So he did the upper endoscopy on this patient, and without any presenting signs, she had an erosion, right? Which is a possible complication of the lap band. So that was his decision marker. Good news is he took that patient's lap band out. Period of time went by and he put another lap band into her, and she's extremely happy with her second band. So there's an interesting case of, you know, a doctor was able to recognize and see an erosion, Patient had the band removed, and patient wanted a new band, and even on the eroded band stomach, he was able to replace, put a new band on that same stomach. I don't hear that very often, right? And the patient's doing marvelous, and no erosion, again with the second band. So anyway, that is his reasoning for wanting to do them annually. So this for me was only my second one in 6.5 years, and I was about 6 months late to get it done. So they put you under, put this thing in your mouth, they stick a scope down your throat, and he looks inside your esophagus, your stoma, your duodenum, whatever, all that stuff, right? So when I woke up, both nurses were like, "Oh, he was so proud. Everything looks so great." I'm like, "Oh, thank you so much," right? And then Dr. Daptian came to see me, and he looked right at me and said, "Are you having trouble swallowing?" Well, maybe sometimes, I was talking about, so skip. So we looked, I have to pause. We looked at the upper GI together, and he was, perfect. And I explained to him that for whatever reason, that I wanted, I had these reasonings of, I feel tight. I've lost this weight. I'm happy with my weight. I feel like I can control my nutrition, my fitness, my water, my vitamins and supplements, and but I feel tighter, and I don't like this tighter feeling that I have, and I want to take some saline out of my band. And he's like, "How much are you thinking?" I'm like, "Half cc, 1 cc?" He's like, "Half cc, but no weight gain." So before we did the endoscopy, he took out a half cc of my band, right? So the last time I think I was at 5.3, take out a half cc, puts me at 4.8, somewhere around there. So, and I said, not to worry, I'm back in LA in 8 weeks. If I gain more than 5 pounds, I'll be right back here getting that adjustment again. But I had said that I have no problem with my shake in the morning. I typically don't have any problem with my lunch. But my third meal of the day, my evening meal, just doesn't work so well for me. I feel like stuff is sitting here, and I don't like that sitting feeling, and if something's sitting there, I like to let it release, and I don't like letting stuff release. So I think maybe, with less saline in my band, and I saw on the upper endoscopy, on the upper GI, the fluid, the barium that you swallow, it's coming through the band. You could see it. He showed it to me and pointed it right out. You can see it. So he didn't really think that I needed to take anything out of my band. But what I was describing to him, he agreed, okay, let's do what you want to do. Your body. These fluoroscopies always are not the clinical part of what the patient is experiencing. Great. So we took out the half cc. We go in, we do the upper endoscopy. Everyone gives me, when I come out, they're like, "Oh, he was so happy, so proud of, your esophagus, blah, blah, blah." So then he comes into the room. And that's when he looks at me, he says, "Are you having trouble swallowing?" Well, yeah, maybe that sort of seems like what might be going on when I struggle with that third meal of the day, right? Because I had one evening where I ate late, and I did have a lemon drop. I was out with a fellow weight loss surgery guy, I won't mention his name, and he bought us all a round of lemon drops, which are acidic. So the combination of the two, I woke up and I regurgitated food, and I had a cough. So all of my own education here on the internet, YouTube, taught me that if you have a cough at night and you have any type of regurgitation while sleeping, you got an issue, right? So I tried to remain calm about that, made the phone call to my surgeon, set up the appointments that I had not done for these tests, and that was the primary reason. Was like, I gotta get to LA. I gotta get this stuff taken care of. I'm too tight. Something's wrong, right? That's what you hear. I've got a slip band. I've got an erosion. I've got, I don't know what I've got, but I've got to find out. And he's the master guru, right? So when I explain, yes, I think sometimes it seems like I have a hard time swallowing. He says, "You have yeast fungus in your esophagus." Huh? Like, what do you mean? He's like you get a yeast infection? Well, you've got one in your esophagus. So we'll give you some meds and we'll clear that right up. He's an oncologist, right? So he deals with people living through cancer. And my mother had a thrush, right, when she was dying with cancer. And so it's a similar thing. And he's not worried about it. He was just like, oh, well, here's the RX and take this and everything will be fine. I had never heard of it. I had never heard of esophagitis, esophageal fungus, esophageal yeast. What caused it? You can read all about it on the internet, and none of those things actually describe me. So my thinking is, the food was sitting too long. He kind of agreed with me with that, kind of not really sure, but let's treat it and see what happens. So that HAS-CC I wanted out probably has nothing to do with my band being tight, right? Has to do with the fact that I've had this fungus, this yeast growing in my esophagus. And swallowing is one of the issues. And feeling like there's food sitting in your chest, because when I had called my surgeon's office, I'm like, I'm broken, help me, I don't know what's going on. And of course they were very positive and, what do you mean you're broken? I love his office team. And that's why I got to LA and had things checked out. So aftercare is extremely important, but he told me I was perfect. I had shared with you the last time I had this upper GI done and the upper endoscopy, he said, your insides match your outsides. That's very excellent. So I was hoping for that again, right? And even though he found this esophageal yeast fungus, he kind of will treat that and we'll move on, right? Not a big deal. And he said, I said, I'm not the perfect patient. He goes, Wendy, today, looking at the insides, you're the perfect patient. Swoon! Maybe he tells every patient that. I don't know. But I can tell you that hearing that my esophagus is still normal size, that my stoma is still normal size, that it's rare for him to see any of his patients with such beautiful esophagus and stoma, tells me that my work in the kitchen, my consistency, going on 7 years of measuring 95% of what I eat, keeping it at that 2 to 4 ounces for the most part, again, not perfect, but for the most part, is working for me. Because I hear such horrible stories about esophaguses dilating and pouches dilating, and there are solutions to those things in most cases if you see your surgeon about them. And you don't know until you see a surgeon, until you know, right? So anyway, the video is getting long. I got my prescription taken care of with the pharmacy. All is good. Got a HAS-CC out of my band. This, in some of the videos, I watched my last video, even right now, I just struggle with the swallowing. That's the yeast in my throat. So hopefully this will take care of it. We'll find out. I'll stay very in close touch with my surgeon and I'll keep you guys posted. Never heard anybody on YouTube as a LAPBAND patient talking about esophageal yeast fungus. Yeah. You think you're too tight? Having some trouble swallowing? Might be yeast. Who knew? I didn't know. I even asked a very important social media expert who happens to be a LAPBANDer, who runs Bariatric Pal, my good friend, and is, I think, 12 or 13 years post-op LAPBAND. I even asked him, and when I saw him recently, you have any trouble swallowing? Nope. Yeah. Crazy. So we'll take the RX, we'll stay in touch with the doc, we'll see what happens. I walked out of there on cloud 9 yesterday. My surgeon is, I work every day. Every day. I don't take days off, folks. I work every day to make myself feel proud as a weight loss surgery patient, as a LAPBAND patient. And I also work to make my surgeon proud. Truth. And he was extremely proud of me yesterday and dismissed this whole yeast thing, that it's not a big deal. Let's take care of it and hope that it's not a big deal. But stoma, esophagus, lap band, perfect. With regard to size, he showed me exactly where the band is. Did I have the pictures? I think I do. Yeah. So this is it. Okay, so this one and this one is the band with the stomach around it. No erosion, right? This area right here, this is my stoma. That's all the bigger the area of my stomach is above the band. Remarkable, he says, right? So, the rest of the stuff I'm not really sure about, but there you can see again the stomach. That's how small the stomach is. And when he can look back and look at other ones, it's the same size it was almost 7 years ago. So, yay, my hard work pays off. So anyway, that's my update. Take care, everybody. Thanks for watching. Aftercare, do it. Talk to your doctor. You never know what's going on unless you know. I hear a lot of people say they don't have to have upper endoscopies. They don't have to have upper GIs unless there's a problem. Well, guess what? What if I didn't have this? What if this wasn't every 3 years? Will I come back next year and do another one? Heck yeah. Right? So, if I'm a lap band patient and I got a lap band surgeon telling another lap band patient that they need to, and he's a lap band patient, telling me I need to do these tests, I'm doing them. What if I didn't have the test? What if I just got the unfill? Right? Maybe the 5 cc or half cc unfill is wrong. Maybe I don't need it. I don't know. We're going to find out. Okay.